Niners, 19-12 winners. And so Brock Purdy's run continues at quarterback, now the fifth different quarterback to reach the conference championship round in his rookie season. The first since Mark Sanchez. It's been more than a decade since he did that. The other four names were all top 50 draft picks. As you're presumably well aware at this point, Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, the very last name called at the end of the draft. But he and the Niners move on. Here's their coach, Kyle Shanahan, on his quarterback's performance.
He made a number of plays today. I mean, that by no means was anything perfect for the whole offense and for the whole team, but it seemed like playoff football in that game. I mean, we were going against the team and just watching them all week. We had a feeling it was going to be this type of game, and that's why we were stressing the run game on both sides and stressing to protect the ball and try to get turnovers, and we accomplished both of those things. And you do that stuff, you still got to make a number of plays. And I mean, you saw how many George made today, and it's tough to do those without the quarterback. So he made some big-time plays too.
For myself, there's times in the game where it's like, man, I want to be better. I want to capitalize on third downs and finish when we get in the red zone. So I mean, that's always something that's been in me in terms of wanting to get better. But at the same time, man, it's the NFL. It's not easy to do everything on your own. And so for me, it's like, man, I got to do my part in this team, for this team. And everyone else is going to do their part, and that's where trust comes into play. And we trust everyone that everyone's going to do their thing, and we'll just let everything fall into place from there.
A familiar and frustrating script for the Cowboys and their legion of fans all across the nation and the world, frankly, out before the conference championship for the 12th consecutive playoff appearances. And Dallas's drought is the longest of its kind in postseason history. The good news is you get there. The bad news is they're hitting their head on the ceiling short of the stated goal. Chiefs had the previous longest drought. They've reached the AFC Championship 5 straight times, though, since they snapped the streak. Here's their quarterback, Dak Prescott, on this most recent loss.
Just disappointed. As I said, I mean, guys that played their asses off, defense who gave us an opportunity to win this game, who played hard against a really, really good offense, a really good team, and for us to only put up the points that we did, that's unacceptable, and it starts with me, and I've got to be better. I mean, that's no other way to sugarcoat it. What we've done as an organization and taking a step, and yeah, I mean, it all sucks right now. It all sucks. Don't get me wrong, but there's no doubt when you
an incredible journey, with this group of men, and we came up short tonight to a very good football team.
Frankly, turnovers do settle the scores with games like that, and I'm so disappointed for our fans. And this felt good. This felt good today. Felt good with the team. But San Francisco had something to say about that.
Jerry, you said before the Tampa Bay game that nothing that happened that night could impact your thoughts on Coach Mike McCarthy. Does a result like this change anything in your mind with him?
No, not at all.
Louis Riddick is with us, and some news that has come in just late Sunday night, just some further clarity on the Pollard injury late in the second quarter. It's a fractured left fibula, according to ESPN's Todd Archer, which is going to require surgery. So let's start there, because there's a lot to get to. We'll get to the San Francisco piece.
Yeah.
How much did that change what Dallas had to operate with on offense when they lost that difference-making talent at running back?
Yeah, the explosive component of their offense, Scott, takes a tremendous hit. Look, when you're going up against a team like San Francisco, you need guys who can produce those plus 10, plus 15, plus 20-yard plays. Without Tony Pollard in the game, although he's a running back, they just don't have that guy that once they get into space that he can create those kind of plays that you're going to need in order to beat San Francisco. CeeDee's the only guy who's left, right? So now when CeeDee's just the only guy, that makes Dak have to elevate everyone else, all the supporting players. He's going to have to elevate them. So that means this: when Michael Gallup has a corner beat on a post, you got to lead him inside. You got to put it on him.
Yeah.
You cannot turn the ball over. You cannot be leading Dre Greenlaw to possibly maybe creating a pick six because you're staring down your primaries. You have to elevate your play when you start losing playmakers, and Dak wasn't able to do that tonight. And that ultimately, along with turnovers and other things, really led to their demise.
And I appreciate that there are certainly questions about clock management, decision-making, and Coach McCarthy, he is a popular target of people who love to talk about football on the internet, which I appreciate and understand. But ultimately, I think you and I agree, It's the people between the lines that have to make the plays.
Yep.
And Dak Prescott, as did others, let him down in this spot.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Look, I think in this game, coming into it, you knew that Dak was going to need to play very similarly to how he played against Tampa Bay in terms of being clean, number one. But number two, again, when you're paying Dak what you're paying him, it's going to be about him making those unique type of plays. It's going to be about CD making unique type of plays. And look, we can sit here and talk about, well, maybe they should have went for it on fourth down, as you were talking about, deep in your own territory, 2 minutes left, have your timeouts. But really, the game was kind of lost even before that. And when you don't capitalize on opportunities against a defense as good as this, it's going to cost you in the long run, regardless of what the coach does.
Let's pivot to San Francisco, who has 60 minutes more in their season at minimum.
Yep.
And we talk a lot about identity in this sport. San Francisco has one. How much does the identity of the team allow Brock Purdy to be Brock Purdy, as opposed to trying to have an identity like a Montana or a Young or somebody beyond his station at this stage of his career?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Kyle Shanahan has done a great job of actually identifying, or rather establishing that identity, which is this. We're going to run the football in various different ways. We're going to attack the field inside out, both in the run game and the pass game. And then we're going to utilize different forms of play action to attack you inside out. And you saw, so the game wasn't going good for them as far as their running game early on. But then in the third and fourth quarter, as you see some of these plays, some of these inside breaking routes to George Kittle, inside breaking routes, to Brandon Ayuk, that is what their identity is. We're going to attack you inside out. Brock, you can hit those kind of throws. Just don't throw it to the other team. And also do this. Remember, part of their identity is the fact that you don't have to be Superman because we have a great defense.
Yeah, 12.
Play to the strength of the football team. And if you can actually do that and you can constantly stay in that frame of mind, you're going to win a lot of football games. And that starts at the very top with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan.
It's really interesting, though, about Purdy. He'll make his first NFC road start. No, that's not right. It was against Seattle in the regular season was the first one. And then it was against the Raiders in an overtime game, which was kind of interesting in retrospect. But neither here nor there. You got to go to Philly. 19 might not be enough to win that football game, given what you're up against, even as great as San Francisco's defense is. What's your early sense about what Purdy needs to be, what the Niners need to be in this coin flip game in Philly?
There's no question offensively. Look, I know we're going to keep saying this word clean game. There's no doubt he has to do that. You cannot turn it over against this defense. Punting is your friend, especially when you have a defense like this that's going to need to do this. Achilles heel for Philadelphia is turnovers. When they lose that turnover battle, that's when they've got themselves into trouble, which means this. San Francisco's defense, when you're talking about identity, that's how this team is built. It's defense first, run game, play action, passing game. That's how it goes. Defense, you got to give them some extra possessions, and you got to give them extra possessions in plus territory. Because if you don't, you're right. I don't know if you can expect Brock Purdy to deal with this pass rush that's really 8 deep and a run game themselves that will give San Francisco all they can handle. So really the strengths of this football team, how they've been built, strong down the middle, has to show up in this game, and you must, DeMeco Ryans, you must get your boys to turn the ball over, or you won't win this game.
That's interesting. We start in the summertime. Well, really, we talk football all year long, but we start in the summer, and then there's all this eye candy all year long, and every year the same thing happens. We get to this time, January, looking towards February. If you can run it and you can play defense, you're going to keep playing football in this league, aren't you?
I was never more excited than last night watching the Philadelphia Eagles run the football.
Yeah, 280 or something.
Scott, I haven't seen professionals do that to one another in a long time, maybe since maybe the second week in 1995, a certain Cleveland Brown team went to Pittsburgh and had 3 running backs go over 100 yards in one game. And I was on the defense.
Yeah. Not great.
That's not good at all, dude.
Not very good.
That's not very
It's rare that I hit a button when a guest is sitting here.
Oh my gosh.
Don't go anywhere. We got more to talk about with you, looking at the Bills-Bengals game and an eye on the AFC Championship as